Okay, everyone. So welcome to all and welcome to this Employability World Tour webinar focusing on job search in Spain. My name is Floriane Lambert. I am in charge of international development within the EMLYON alumni department. This series of webinar is organized by EMLYON alumni department, Delphine Rom, who unfortunately could not attend the webinar today, and myself. And I am very pleased to be the webinar moderator today. Thank you again for joining this webinar. If you do not know these types of webinars, they are part of a series aiming at learning the employment specificities in various countries and meeting our graduates and recruitment experts living and working in these countries. So today I would like to warmly thank our speakers, Sylvie, Claire, who are both graduated from EMLYON, and also Emma and Adele, who are students at EMLYON. They will all share their expertise and knowledge of the Spanish job market with you today. We also have Julie Habib from the Bureau des Internationaux, so the International Student Association, will say a few words about the association's activities. Now, just a quick note on the technical aspects of this webinar. So if you can turn on your camera, that would be very nice for our speakers. And also, please, if you can stay on mute during the webinar, it would be nice as well. You are welcome to use the chat box to ask your questions, but there will be a dedicated Q&A session at the end of the webinar. So you will have the opportunity to ask your questions directly to our speakers. Also, please note this session will be recorded, so it can be shared with all the alumni and students who could not attend today. So now I turn to Julie, who will tell you a few words on the Bureau des Internationaux.
So, hello everyone. I'm the Vice President of the International Student Office, also known as the BDI, the Bureau des Internationaux. So, this Employability World Tour is part of our International Week, where during which we help French and international students gain more experience and understanding of what it's like to work and live abroad. So, thanks everyone for joining. And if I can just say a few words about the International Student Office or the Bureau des Internationaux. So, the next slide.
Sorry, Julie.
Thank you. No, don't worry. So we are an EMLYON Student Association, and we have French and international members, and we aim at helping international students integrate into the associative life at EMLYON, but more generally in France. And one of our main focus is how can we create events and meetings where French and international students can meet and learn about each other's. And also, if you plan on working or living abroad, we created a guide for French students so that they can find resources on what it's like living in some countries. Thank you very much for joining.
Thank you very much, Julie, for this information. Now, I would like to present you a few information on the resources that you can find on the EMLYON alumni platform if you are interested in international opportunities. So on the platform, you can find a lot of resources and material if you have international projects. So first of all, this series of Employability World Tour webinar. So we organize 4 to 5 Employability World Tour webinar per year. You can also access to our international communities. We have a lot of groups on the platform with ambassadors. So the ambassadors are graduates, EMLYON graduates who are volunteer and who represent EMLYON alumni network in their location. So we have different group on the platform that you can join, and as long as as soon as you join the group, then you will receive all the updates of the group, so invitation to events or information about the communities. So feel free to go on the platform and register to those groups and contact the ambassadors if you need to. We also have international guides provided by Going Global, who is a partner of EMLYON. So all these can be found on the international career, on the career tab on the platform. And if you are interested in learning languages, as students and as an alumni, you do have access to our platform Alticia, which can help you to learn new languages. So feel free to use all the resources that can be available on the alumni website. Also, quick information on the alumni website. You can register, you can log into the website with your usual EMLYON login and password. A few words now on our next webinars dedicated to employment. So we have 2 webinars in French on the 30th and 31st of October. And also here below, you can find the list of our next destinations of Employability World Tour webinar. So Germany, China, and United Kingdom will be covered this year. So again, they will all be with a panel of graduates and students who have lived and worked in those countries. Okay, so now I will leave the floor to our speakers. And Sylvie, can you introduce yourself, please?
Hi, everyone. First, I would like to thank you, Florian, for inviting me to speak at this webinar. It's really a pleasure to be here with you. And I graduated from EMLYON a long time ago, in 1991, and I have developed my entire career at the Mars Group, Royal Canin. My main areas of expertise include international business development, marketing strategies, and it was, in my experience, I worked in different countries in the region, North and South America, and as well at global level. My last professional experience, was in Madrid for 5 years. And it was not only a job, it was as well a personal, really personal project I had, because my family is a Spanish. So for me, it was to reconnect with my roots, but as well, it was easier for me to adapt to the culture and the language. And my mission has came to an end a few months ago, and I'm now back in France and looking for new opportunities.
Thank you very much, Sylvie. Claire, would you like to introduce yourself, please?
Sure, thank you. So thank you everyone for joining the call, and we are very pleased to be with you today. So my name is Claire Renaudot. I am French. I am based out of Madrid. I work at Cisco as an account executive for the AI part of the portfolio of Cisco. And prior to that, I had various sales roles within Cisco and as well within other companies such as Porsche. I have been living in Spain for over 3 years now, and it's been a little bit more than 10 years that I have been living abroad. So I will be happy to tell you a little bit about how to look for a job in Spain specifically. But if you have any other question around living abroad, generally speaking, feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn, and I'm happy to help you with that as well.
Thank you, Claire. And now our two students, Adele and Emma.
Yes, so we are Emma and Adele. We are students from EMLYON, and we realized our first internship abroad in Madrid, in Spain. So we are going to talk about our experience in a Spanish firm. And that's it, I think.
Thank you very much, ladies. Before we go into the details of the webinar, just a few words on our alumni network in Spain. We have 2 communities, one based in Madrid and one based in Barcelona. So you are more than welcome to join the group on the platform, as I mentioned before, so that you can receive the updates of the community, so invitation to events, for example. Feel free also to join the LinkedIn group of the alumni living in Spain. And also feel free to contact our ambassadors if you have any questions regarding the community. So Julie Parmentier is our ambassador in Barcelona, and Alix Anne is our ambassador in Madrid. You can find their details on the platform, on the alumni platform, or directly on LinkedIn. So now let's open the first session of this webinar, and Claire and Sylvie are going to present you the employment situation and the employment trends in Spain.
Yes, thank you, Florian. So to let you know a little bit, Spain overall has, let's say, a reputation of having a high unemployment in Europe in general. I think it comes from the different crises which happened back in 2008. So overall, it has indeed an higher unemployment. There is indeed an higher unemployment in Spain than in other European countries. If you compare Spain to Germany, for instance, there is an higher unemployment in Spain. However, the experience we had with Sylvie is that you have a lots of opportunity in Madrid, in Malaga as well, in Barcelona and in Valencia. So it's a little bit like the same setting than in France. The job market situation is very active in big cities and less active around the rest of the country. But you do have a lot of opportunity in big city hubs. So Madrid, obviously being the capital, does have less unemployment than average, and we see a lot of dynamic happening, especially in finance, in tech, in all the services sector, because Spain is definitely a country very oriented towards services. So you will find a lot of opportunities there. When it comes to Barcelona, there is a lot of industry based out of Catalonia, so you may find more opportunities in the industrial space. And you also have a lot of tech startup in Barcelona. However, one big thing to take into account when you go to Catalonia is the Catalan, right? So this is definitely the language that will be needed in Catalonia. And Malaga is quite a recent development, but it is to note because we definitely see a big growing tech hub happening in Malaga. The last, I would say, 3 years, we have seen a lot of opportunity emerging in Malaga. So this is fairly recent. And here in Andalusia and in Malaga in general, you will see a lot of opportunity in renewable energy. So everything concerning electricity with solar panel or with wind, tech as well, and logistics. But again, this is very recent. So Malaga is to consider if you look at relocating to Spain. The next slide, please. So when it comes to the challenges, in Madrid and as well in Barcelona, the two regions share the same difficulties. So you have a very high housing costs, especially if you start, or maybe this is something that you can share a little bit more, Adele, around the experience you had as a student. But the housing is quite difficult for low or middle income workers in Madrid and in Barcelona, because unfortunately or not, Madrid has attracted a lot of international talent over the last 4 years, so since the pandemic, and it happened as well the same in Barcelona. So this international talent usually bring as well their international salaries and make the housing costs rise. So this is something to take into account. There is as well a lot of competition in the job market. So a little bit like in France, when it comes to Paris, you have a big concentration in Madrid or in Barcelona. So this is where you will have a lot of competition as well, because usually this is the place to be for your career. So especially in Madrid, it will be where you will find the most competition in Spain. When it comes to Barcelona, as mentioned already before, Catalan, this is not an option, right? This is actually something that you will need. You may be able to find a job in Barcelona without speaking Spanish or Catalan at the beginning, but they will require you to speak Spanish and Catalan later on. And Catalan is a language that is spoken only there. So this is something to take into account. You will need to make an effort specifically for this region. And Sylvie and I, we shared a little bit the same view. Overall, we see that Barcelona is losing a lot of traction due to the political context. So there is still a lot of friction between Spain and let's say Madrid as a government city and Barcelona due to the independence topic. And we see a lot of companies moving back to Madrid or moving from Barcelona to Malaga or to Valencia to avoid these issues. So we see a little bit Barcelona losing traction when it comes to job and career opportunities compared to other cities. We also see the tax situation in Barcelona or in Catalonia, generally speaking, being less of an advantage for companies. So this is as well what drives some companies to relocate. And when it comes to challenge, so we do the webinar in English, you will find some opportunities in Spain where your role will be 100% in English, but it is true that Spanish is needed for your daily interaction. It is needed for your integration with the local colleagues. And even if your job, your position is 100% remote, 100% English, you will need Spanish in your day-to-day life. So this is something to take into account as well.
So let's look at the opportunities and the future trends. So one important thing is that since 2005, there's a favorable tax treatment called the Beckham Law, which allows qualified foreign workers moving to Spain to be taxed at a reduced flat rate. And this is for the first 5 up to 6 years. So it's really interesting. And you have to compare not the gross, but the net salary, because you might, depending on the situation, you might be very, very surprised. Generally speaking, there's as well an excellent quality of life. You will heard a lot about quality of life during this webinar, and great choice of international schools in big cities for the expats. And the sectors which are really showing a strong growth potential, Claire already mentioned that. Technology and digitalization, so with the cities like Madrid, Barcelona, Valencia, and Malaga, which are becoming tech hubs, healthcare with a strong presence on the pharmaceutical development and clinical research, and all the massive investments that have been done in renewable energy and sustainability in the country. Concerning the trends, so we are all thinking about flexibility at work, full remote, and Spain is one of the top. And I think in 2024, I read something about that Spain is considered as the top one country for digital nomads. Yet one of the consequences of that, and as well of the high level of attractiveness and tourism, there's really an increase on the housing cost. So to check. There's as well public investment and great support from the regions and from the government to support companies creation, and the new business or active startups communities are in place as well. Quality of life again, and it's not only a question of weather, it's really a question of mindset and atmosphere, the life outside the office, the strong sense of community. And for instance, really in Madrid, and it's not only my personal, but all the people I knew there and the foreign people who came to work in Madrid, you really feel safe. You are in a capital, but it's really a safe place to live. Globally, Spanish are welcoming, benevolent, and kind, which is as well a good point. And there's a great focus on promoting from the government, on promoting the family, to protect families, as well on promoting inclusion. And if I have just one example to share, is the duration of maternity leave and paternity leave, because for the young father, you have the same duration of paternity leave than the young mother. And it's not 2 months, it's not 3 months, it's 16 weeks. And for me, it was like a wow moment when this law was voted few years ago. And it's really changing the way how inclusion and the diversity for women at work is changing thanks to this kind of measures. So I think now we can move to the next point. Yes, job cultural specificities.
Yes, thank you very much, Sylvie and Claire. So now we will move to the cultural specificities. And Adele and Emma are going to share their experience.
Yes, we are going to start with our experience as a candidate. We had a really French process. And but in the company, I was in a daily relation with Spanish people, but the process of recruitment was 100% French. So I let Emma talk about her experience, which is, I think, more relevant on this part.
Yes, so personally, the recruitment process for my internship was much more relaxed and personable than I expected. From the start, my exchanges with the HR team were informal and friendly. And when I had my video interviews, the HR representative, instead of only focusing on my academic background, she seemed genuinely interested in me as a person, my hobbies, my personality, and what I like to do outside of work. So it felt more like friendly chats than formal interviews. And I found it difficult at first to switch to a more informal tone with strangers or colleagues. Then our experience in the company. So personally, from day one, I noticed a huge difference in how people communicate. In Spain, it is common to address colleagues informally, using tú instead of the formal usted. I quickly learned that in this workplace, as in Madrid in general, relationships are friendly, almost familial. And this affects not only verbal communication, but also non-verbal communication. For instance, colleagues and including managers are very tactile with each others. And they are also quite comfortable discussing personal topics at work.
Yes, I agree with Emma on these points. They used also a lot of nicknames as cielo, mi niña. It's really a familial way to speak. And I think there is a different mood. It's really less formal, and they don't just talk about their current life. They really want to know the life of each other, and they are interested in. So yes, I think it's more familial in general than in France.
And finally, we are going to talk about our experience outside of the company. So outside of work, we saw the same cultural patterns in daily life. The Spanish people are incredibly open and welcoming. For example, when I first met my landlord, he called me corazón, which means heart, which coming from a stranger was a bit shocking. But I quickly realized that it's not unusual to be called darling by servers, shop assistants, or even people you just met.
Yes, there is a real chill mood in Spain. It's really safe. You can go outside in the middle of the night and there is no problem. That's really cool. And they are really ready to help you. As an example, a policeman helped me to understand how to pay taxes with a bank machine. So it's really cool, and everyone is ready to help you. But something important is that they don't speak English, so you really have to have some skills in Spanish to speak with other people.
And also, I would like to add finally, that we just wanted to remind you that this is our experiences, and we are by no means making it a general statement. That's it.
Thank you very much, ladies. It was really interesting to learn about your experience.
Thank you.
Sylvie is now going to share her own experience.
Yes, so as I shared, I'm Spanish. I have Spanish origins, and yet I was very good. I had very good surprises in the my working experience in Madrid for 5 years. And first, what came up, it's really the friendly and the open welcome. And I see that it was already, we already talked about that. But personally, it was really, for me, it was impacting how the openness and the warmth of the welcoming and really the strong emphasis of my colleagues on building relationship. And this is a point. It's not only to be nice, but it's really a key point to build trust as well and to be efficient after in the work. Yet, one of the challenge of this, maybe of this aspect, is that punctuality, being punctual, being efficient. For instance, for me, it was very difficult in short meetings format, like 30 minutes, to be efficient because you always have to start 5-10 minutes with this checking on the personal mood of everybody before moving to really the key topic, the business topic. And this really conviviality mindset is not only for the colleagues, but it's as well for the partners, for the suppliers, the clients. And even in tough situations, when I had to face the tough negotiation, there were always this interpersonal relationship focus at the end or at the beginning of the meeting. One aspect to pay attention as well is that even more than in France, in Spain, you are in an oral verbal culture. So sometimes it's easier to move, to follow the flow. And what I learned, I have to pay attention to concretize, to formalize by written agreements or conclusions of the contracts, for instance. So that's a point of attention. And another as well point is around challenge. My team, I see that my team didn't always challenge me as much as I expected. And either out of respect for authority, which I think it's a little bit higher than in France, or desire to avoid any conflict or to remain or to stay positive. Yes, I didn't always receive fair feedbacks. And after, I learned to navigate with that and to develop even more my active listening, to pay attention and not to maybe avoid any future conflict or resistance, passive resistance. I put as well another point around the regions, villages, family. And this was like very, very nice because in Madrid, you have people coming from all the different regions from Spain, and they are super proud of where they're coming from. And they are always wanted to share with you their favorite sport, what they are the restaurant, talking about food. And this is part of the hospitality that really defines the work environment here. The last point is around positive mindset and resilience. So I was in Madrid during the lockdown, during the pandemic, and really I was positively impacted by the let's do it attitude, even in this time of a lot of uncertainty and strong stress. So it was really, for me, inspiring the determination and the positive attitude they had during this time.
Thank you very much, Sylvie. And now we're going to hear about Claire's experience.
Yes, sure. So, well, a lot has been said already, but maybe I will go back to looking for a job. So I relocated from Germany to Madrid during pandemic. So I did not apply for a role in Spain. I simply relocated due to personal reason to Madrid, because my husband is Spanish, and we were actually based in Germany, and it made no sense for us anymore, especially with the pandemic. Let's say triggered a lot of conversation for many people, I think, at the time. So we relocated to Spain. There was an adjustment phase for me, because just like everyone else mentioned, Spain is a very people-to-people culture. So you need to know the person you are talking to. They like to understand who you are as a person first, and then they make business with you. So when you come from a very direct country, like Germany or the Nordics, for instance, but as well other cultures such as America, you may find yourself in weird situation where you have the 30 minutes meeting Sylvie mentioned, and you come like a speedy car, and you want to go straight to the point of the meeting, and Spanish people, they just don't take that. They need to get to learn. They need to get to learn you first, and then they can speak about business. So this is something to take into account if you consider Spain. Maybe after another experience abroad, Spain needs to get to know you first before doing business. So for me, overall, when I arrived in Spain, I could not speak a word of Spanish. To give you my level, I was writing hola, O-L-A, so very bad. It was terrible. I studied German at school, so I had to learn Spanish at the coffee machine. And I think this is as well where you see how kind and open the Spanish people are. They were okay to speak with me in Spanish, even if my Spanish was terrible. I was translating everything from French. It was absolutely pure chaos. Still, they were kind. They were correcting me, but in a very nice way, not in a negative way. So I actually learned Spanish at the coffee machine with my colleagues in a very natural way, and that was great. And nowadays, after 3 years, I can almost confidently present some work-related stuff in Spanish. I still have some moments where I have that, so I switch back to English. But just to let you know, there is definitely a curve, but this is doable. I tell you all that because I think if you look at a job in Spain, you may be interested in looking at positions which are not necessarily advertised in Spain, because actually companies are quite happy to send you to Spain, because for them it may imply lower costs. Not only lower costs because of lower salary. Again, as Sylvie mentioned, compare the net. Do not ever compare the what's the name in English? The
gross.
Yes, the gross salary. Compare always your net salary, because you may be very surprised, especially with the mechanism of the Beckham law. And it may be better for them. So even if you see a position advertised out of London or out of Dublin, apply and ask the recruiter whether it would be possible to work out of Spain, because in many cases it is actually possible. Madrid, honestly, to me, as a very high quality of life, as a capital. So it is the capital of Spain, but it is not a city such as London, Paris, or Berlin, that are very massive city with lots of people. It's really the right size, and it brings a lot of culture and events without the stress of commuting in a very bigger city. Here in Spain, just like Sylvie already mentioned, yeah, family and friends is really the center of life. So there is a lot of things to do outside work. So which means you will get as well a much better respect of work-life balance, because people actually consider that your life outside work is important, because it is important to them as well. So this is positive if you look at a more balanced setting in your life. life. It can be as well something to consider. Maybe this is not something that you consider attractive now, but maybe this is something that you will need to have, or you will consider attractive later on in your life, depending of what you have. We all started as young people without any constraints, and maybe we were able to work more, but once you start to have children, or once you start to reach a certain phase in your life, maybe you want to have a different setting. So this is something to consider. And well, it has been said already, but it is true. So I have a EMEA-based role, so I get to work with a lot of different countries across Europe and Africa and Middle East. And the Spanish people, they have a can-do attitude. So if you are navigating a very moving or dynamic situation with a lot of changes, a lot of adaptation needed, well, you may need a lot of Spanish attitudes. And Spanish people, although they may have, let's say, a bad reputation from work-related perspective, coming from, let's say, cliches, I can tell you on the day-to-day, they actually have a welcoming attitude to change. They can manage very well in complex and moving situation, and this is appreciated when it comes to international complex project, because their positive attitude towards change is sometimes very much needed with other culture, for instance. So that's great. And yeah, as I said, Spanish is definitely key. But again, if you don't speak it, it is. So I speak German, I speak Spanish. I can tell you the difference in learning both languages is huge. So Spanish is not so difficult to learn if you definitely try to speak and you take a little bit of time, you will get it. No worries. This is something that is doable. And again, the Spanish people are not like the French people. If you do not pronounce something correctly, they will not make you repeat. They will try to understand you, and they will be kind towards your effort. So go ahead and go for it.
Thank you, Claire. That was really interesting. Now our speakers are going to share their do's and don'ts as part of the recruitment process. So that's really sharing with you the tips that you should remember out of this webinar when you are in a recruitment process. So Adèle and Emma.
Yes, something important for us is to always participate in social events, because it's important to create some links with other people around a drink or a meal, but it's important with your colleagues, with your friends, with your roommates, with everyone. It's really in the Spanish culture. And we also think you need to always say hola, buenas when you go to a shop, to a restaurant, because everyone do it in Spain, and it's really important to have a good relation with other people.
Okay, thank you very much, ladies. Sylvie, can you share your do's and don'ts, please?
Yeah, so I pick up one, which is around be patient. Be patient in the sense of you need to spend time, to invest time, to know the people, to spend time on building trust. And it means as well that you have to be very clear on your expectations in the project, in the everyday life, during the meeting, for instance, to be very, very clear. And the don't, it's a little bit linked, but during business lunch, because business lunch, there are really prime opportunities to build business relationship, but be careful not to bring up work too quickly. So really, we focus maybe until the dessert time on a personal topic, and at the end of the lunch, we start talking about business.
Thank you, Sylvie. And lastly, Claire.
Yeah, so actually it's a mix of of everyone. So for the do, I also say network. So yeah, go to participate in any social event that is made available to you. You can demonstrate a lot of goodwill and benevolence because again, Spanish are very kind. Usually, if you demonstrate positive feelings, you will get as well a lot in return. So this is definitely a win-win. And the don't, just as I said, if you go too quick, too straight to the point, you may be seen as rude or a little bit too business focused. People, they want to get to know you, they buy from people, or they negotiate with people. So start with building your relationship, and at the end, the work related matters will be as well will be as well friendlier, because you actually get to know the people you work with, and even if the negotiation may be tough, you actually get to know the person yourself as well. So it's anyway a good thing to have.
Thank you very much, Claire. So we are now going to open the Q&A sessions. So we have a few sessions already on the chat box, and we actually had 2 questions from Astrid. So Astrid, if you are with us, would you like to open your microphone and ask your questions directly?
Thank you. It would be my pleasure. Actually, I had a few questions because when I was way younger, I used to live in Madrid for 3 years, and like 10 years passed, and I guess that a lot of things changed. And something that I was super surprised when my father was working there was the impact of sport in the day-to-day working culture. That whether for tennis or even football, it was a really main topic. If you were not updated, it was almost if you were like wasting your time. And it was a really bonding topic too. And is it always true, or did it change a bit, or maybe other topics are new bonding topics in Spain?
Who wants to start? Maybe Adele and.
Yes, we think sport is really important today. For instance, some of my colleagues were going to a paddle session just after work. So yes, I think it's still a main thing in the life in Spain.
You want to share as well, Claire, or
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yes, so there's a point really around football, soccer. It's true, and you have to pay attention because there are a lot of challenges between if you are from Madrid, Atletico, Real Madrid, or Barcelona. That it's always nice. So when there have been a big match, so the coming days at the coffee machine, that's the topic as well. And what we did, I was, it reminded me an experience that we did at the office. We organized a paddle championship with all the different colleagues. And it was incredible, the enthusiasm and all the people playing paddle after work or during lunchtime, etc. So paddle as well, it's a sport very usual there.
Yeah, and if I can add, so football is a thing, but if you do not follow football, you will not be lost either. So I've never followed. I just try to understand where are the big games more from a traffic perspective, because if you live in Madrid and there is a big game between Atletico and Real Madrid, the city will be filled with many people. So it's better to know that the game is happening than not to know. But you can definitely get other sports in focus. Now we've just lost Rafael Nadal to the tennis game, but they still have Carlos Alcaraz. They have a lot of sports to talk to, but generally speaking, sport is a big part of life. Yeah.
Thank you so much for the input, and I'm happy that it's always still on because it was such a, like, I remember like people like clapping in the streets, or even when you were in building, you could hear people like clapping, like the floor be up and also down than you. You were like, what is it? It's Spain.
Yeah.
And also, sorry, go ahead, Claire.
No. Go ahead. It's quite an atmosphere with the games. Yeah.
Okay. And Astrid, you wanted to know the company Adele and Emma worked in?
Yeah,
Is that right?
You were just curiosity if they could share the information, but if they can't, it's not a problem.
Yes, I was in Selectra, which is a French company, and I was in the HR department.
Oh, nice.
And I completed an internship in community management and communication at a company, Shop Advisor, that works for Carrefour. So I managed the company social media platforms and created communication campaigns for Carrefour.
That's big. Congrats.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, we had another question from Tanisha about the language. Tanisha, are you here?
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, we can hear you.
So I wanted to understand, as I am a foreign student here in France as well, so I had to learn French professionally for a couple of years to speak fluently. Is that also the case with Spanish? And if where can we learn it professionally to get a better fluency?
Who would like to answer this question? So how long does it take to learn Spanish, professional Spanish?
Well, professional Spanish, it depends how often you train. But to give you an example, my job is 100% remote, so I actually could have stayed at home. But to learn Spanish, I went to the office every day during 1 year, and every day I was talking to different colleagues at the coffee machine. And I got it more or less in 1 year. Let's say the Spanish too of the day to day, and to really as well be able to present something simple. Now it's been 3 years, and I can start to present AI related subjects in Spanish. So this is a much more, let's say, much higher level. Let's say a lot of technical words and a lot of things that you would not necessarily learn studying Spanish. But I would say 1 year definitely to learn completely the day-to-day. And if you have a very technical job, maybe add another 1 or 2 years above that to be able to actually present your subject or your matters in the local language.
Thank you, Claire. Does it answer your question, Tanisha?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Thank you. We have another question from Marion Pizzetta. So Marion, you had a question on VIE. Can you hear us, Marion? Maybe Marion is unable to talk. So I think the question was, is there any companies working in Spain so that recruit VIE on VIE contracts? So do you know if this is the case?
It is the case. If I can have to show you some input that I had some months ago, because I'm actually in the process for VIE in Spain. You have a lot of openings in Barcelona and many in Madrid, and you have some that are really high expectancy skills. For example, I'm still in the process for ADEO, which is just a group of Laura Merlin, and I've been in the process with 60 interviews for just one VIE, and I still have 2 interviews to go, because they are really super exigent. They just want to have a good people in terms of analytics, but also in terms of Spanish, because they just want to have the good guy in the team with them.
Thank you for sharing your experience, Astrid. This is really interesting.
No problem.
Sylvie or Claire, would you like to add something on that, or no?
So I don't know anything about VIE, to be honest. There was VIE during my time, but I'd never applied to VIE, so I don't know anything about it. Sorry.
Okay. Okay, thank you. So now we have a question from Lisa. Lisa, would you like to open your microphone? About Spanish nationality?
Yes, hi, sorry.
So yes, can you hear me well? First of
Yes,
all?
we can hear you. Yes.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, I had a question about the visa. Sorry, there is a lot of noise. Yes, do you think it could impact the recruitment process? The fact of not having a visa, a professional visa, because I know it is the case in Middle East, for example, but I know that Spain is in Europe, so maybe it can help. But yeah, I had this question. I'm here speaking about like unemployment, not about an internship.
And Lisa, what's your nationality?
French.
But then there is no problem. As a European citizen, you can work in any country in Europe.
Okay, so there's not like a special visa for professional.
No.
For European citizen, you can go anywhere to work in Europe. There is no visa.
Okay, I'm glad to know that. Thank you very much.
Yeah. And for just maybe if anyone else in the group is not from Europe. So if you're not from Europe, the company needs to do an extra process for you to get, let's say, the Spanish residency. Some company are okay with it. I actually have a friend from Taiwan. She is in Madrid and she never had a problem. It will very much depend of your profile, right? If you have an interesting profile, the company they will make the effort for you. If they are not that interested in your profile, they will not make the effort for you. This is a little bit the situation, the reality.
Okay, thank you. We now have a question from Julie.
Yes, hello.
Hello, Julie.
Thank you for the presentation. That's very interesting. You talked about a few cities in Spain. I was wondering if you had information about the north of Spain, more specifically, and the region of Bilbao. What kind of work opportunities are there? Yes, do you have any info about this region?
So overall, Bilbao is much more related to manufacturing. So
Okay.
this is so I know some people from the area. This is not always easy to enter the circle. I think in Bilbao you will need to network much more than in other cities because there are opportunities, but you need to be connected to the right people to get them. It's not as growing as Malaga is, for instance. Malaga right now is recruiting, I don't want to say anyone, but they have such a growth that they don't necessarily rely on the recommendation of other people. However, I would say Bilbao is more closed up, at least at the moment.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Sylvie, would you like to add something on that region? Or
this
maybe
region, it's a wonderful region. Basque countries, it's an amazing region, but it's true that it's very specific, I think, and as well for the language and all the culture. So as Claire said, I think you have to be connected, or you may know people maybe there.
And do you think that the Basque language is required there, just like Catalan in Barcelona?
So in some jobs, like if you want to be doctor, if you want to work for the government, regional government, I think it's mandatory. But then for private companies, I'm not sure. I cannot tell you clear. But I think it's like in Barcelona. You at some point of time you will have to understand really clearly the culture and to talk their regional the Basque. Yes.
I don't think it is as strong as Catalan, but it's still there. So to give you an example, when we welcome the Basque bank at Cisco, they speak Spanish. To my point of view, they are much more open than some Catalan people. It's just my personal opinion. But when they talk to each other, they talk in Basque. So it's still to let you know that the language is still there. It's not like I mean, I don't know, or maybe I've never been in the setting, but I've never heard Basque people from the Basque country in France speak to Basque to each other when I was with them. So I'm referring to the French part. So again, maybe it's just because I never crossed with the right people, but different, right? In Spain, the regional languages are much more respected as well.
And
All right, thank you.
is the Basque language very different from Catalan, for example?
Nothing.
And Castilian? Nothing to do?
Nothing to do. And Basque is, they say we don't know what are the origins. So it's not Latin origins. It's very, very specific. And it's considered as quite difficult to learn.
Okay, interesting. Okay, thank you. I hope this answered your question, Julie.
Yes, it did. Thank you very much.
Okay, so another question from Marion, but I will ask it because I think Marion is unable to talk. So is it necessary to have a local bank account to receive your pay?
I think yes. Yes, for me, yes. Yeah. Claire, I don't know if you have this experience, but definitely when I moved to Spain, so there are three things. So first is your national number, which is NIE, having a local bank account and the number of the social security. So it's driven by the contract, the work contract. But yes, you need a local bank account.
Okay.
So I had some months of, let's say I had a permission to remain on my German account for some months because it was COVID, it was pandemic, so it was
Okay.
a special situation. But maybe for maybe for a student experience, I don't know, what was your experience?
Yes, on our side, we didn't need a Spanish bank account for revenue.
And I think it depends, and it's the HR team of your company that is going to tell you what you need to work in the company.
Maybe for short-term contracts or internship, it's a little bit different.
Yeah. I mean, it would make sense. Usually you don't open a bank account for some months, but yeah.
Okay, thank you. Lisa, you had another question. Would you like to ask it directly?
Yes, of course. Thank you. So yes, my question was, is international competition important in IT technology companies in Spain? Because I've seen a lot of offers. And yeah, that was my question about it.
So I can take that because I work in the sector, but to let you know, over the last 3 years, just to give you a range of what's happening right now. So in Madrid, when I arrived in 2021, there were around 300 colleagues in the Cisco office in Madrid, Spain. Madrid office, not Spain. And over the last 3 years, I think around 40 people added. So we are now around 350. And these 40 people, it's just international people relocating to Spain. So usually, sometimes they have a Spanish link or not. So really people relocating because of they want let's say a life in Spain. So I think, yes, there is a lot of competition right now, but as well there are a lot of opportunities. Again, as I said, if you see any advertisement for Spain, but if you see as well something based at Luxembourg, Dublin, London, check the job, what is actually required. Will you need to go to visit customer on site, or are you actually in a more overlay role? Because if you are in an overlay role, it makes sense to ask the people from this company, can I do it from Spain? Because this is actually happening. This is not just a small trend. This is not something happening for one or two people. We see it happening in my company and in another company of the sector. So yeah.
Even during the recruitment process, like we can ask this as a question
Yeah. So to my experience, my job was based out of London. And when I said I would like to move to Spain, they said yes. So yes, it is possible. But obviously, you need to say it upfront, right? Do not lose your time. Do not make them lose your time. Say it upfront. Say it. I want to move to Spain. Is it possible to make this job out of Spain? And then they will tell you yes or no. You have nothing to lose anyway.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there any other questions to our speakers? Leanne, would you like to open your micro? Leanne? Sorry, you can't talk. Okay. So do Spanish companies have particular criteria on CVs? What is the trend on CVs? Do you have to put your photograph, age, or is it, what would you recommend?
Just I can share in my experience because I've been recruiting, hiring different people, and it works a lot. It worked a lot through LinkedIn first, and so it's as in other countries. And I didn't notice a huge difference with France, for instance. So you don't have to mention, and I think you don't have to mention your age. I think it's good to put the picture, but it's not mandatory. Yeah, at least in my experience, maybe we have to check that. And really, LinkedIn was working a lot. It was really a great source for us of recruitment.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't know if there are any norms to be respected. I don't know.
Okay, so maybe we would give as a recommendation to create a CV as standard as possible, like in all international countries. Okay. Is there any other questions? No? Okay. So maybe we can end the webinar then. So I would like to say a big thank you to our speakers, Adèle, Emma, Claire, and Sylvie. Thank you very much for sharing your particular experiences. It was really interesting to learn. I hope this webinar has been valuable to all of you. The webinar, so the video, the replay of the webinar and the presentation will be posted on the EMLYON alumni website in a few days' time. So feel free to go and have a look at the slides if you need any further information. And feel free also to contact our speakers if you have any further questions. Thank you very much to all of you for attending the webinar, and we hope to see you online soon for our next destinations that we will cover. Thank you all. Goodbye.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.